Well, another day, another game studio that's intent on giving you the worst deal possible. If you think that this is how my villain era starts, yes, this is how it starts. I mean, for real, look at all these prices. $90 for the base edition? Come on, dude. But what if I told you can get a better deal investing your money somewhere else? Come closer. $7.50 Canadian. That's all you need. What are you getting? Well, you get everything. Literally everything. You would be insane if you don't take this deal. Hey everyone, welcome to another video of me being petty about the rising price of gaming and directing people towards artists that will help them learn how to draw. As the thumbnail suggests, I will be reviewing another Art Gods Patreon, this time Guweiz. Once again, I will be rating the Patreon out of 5 stars based off of these categories, so stick around till the end for that. Quick disclaimer, I personally like Guweiz's art style. I know some other people do, and I also know some other people hate his art style. And look, we all have our own preferences, we all have our likes and dislikes, and if you happen to dislike Guweiz's art style, fuck you. Keep your doo-doo opinions to yourself, we're not here for that. Anyway, who exactly is Guweiz? To be completely honest with you, I don't know too much about him except that he's an amazing artist. So I did a quick Google search and clicked on the first link that popped up. I'll leave the link to the article below, you can read it, but it basically says that he is a Singaporean artist that started drawing at the age of 16. You wanna know what's crazy? Within the span of 4 years, he managed to land a job for making promotional art for the 2017 movie Ghost in the Shell. Look, I know it sounds insane, but here's the Tumblr post he made when he got the job. I mean, look at that, that's insane. February 2017, coming out at the end of March. That is crazy. I mean, this just goes to show that as long as you're dedicated to the craft, anything is possible. Anyways, like I said, Guweiz is an incredibly talented artist, and if we take a quick look at his art, you can tell there's a really cinematic vibe to it. What really stands out to me with Guweiz's art is really the storytelling elements. In most, if not all of his work, the characters are doing something. Combine that with his mastery of composition, color, posing, lighting, you truly do have a piece that stands out from the crowd. Which is why I think, given his skills, the Patreon is a bit of a daylight robbery. That being said, let's break down what's being offered. So really, there's only one tier, $7.50 Canadian, you can convert it to your local currency if you want. So what you get are monthly voice tutorials, step-by-step process guides, and 4K high-res images of his art. Not only that, but you also get access to the entire tutorials archive. Along with that, you also get access to the Discord community. Before I go into a detailed overview, I just want to remind you guys that I'm not gonna show anything from the Patreon itself, just to avoid any leaks. Okay, well, maybe except for this one, he does say that you don't need to subscribe or join to get the brush pack. He's being very generous here. All hail Guweiz, he is Lisan al-Gaib. Again, quick reminder, if your art skills are trash, the brushes are not going to do anything for you. Sorry. Now for the detailed overview, let's start off with the tutorials. Much like Sanda's arts, the tutorials are delivered through a video format which he then uploads to Patreon. The nice thing about the tutorials is that yes, while you have full access to the entire archive, you can immediately download the video if you wish. He's got a variety of tutorials ranging from poses, composition, environment, lighting. He also has an entire series revolving around character illustration. When it comes to the teaching style though, it is a little bit more on the traditional slower side. Personally, I'm okay with this teaching style, however, I know some people are more into the high energy type of teachers. What's really nice about his teaching style though is that he really emphasizes on developing your observational skills. And while the tutorials do get a little lectury, he does make up for it with in-depth knowledge, which I think is extremely valuable. On top of the tutorials, he does occasionally do a homework review type of thing in the Discord channels. So depending on the tutorial you watched, you can submit a drawing where you applied what you learned in the video and he will personally give feedback. The homework review stuff is a little inconsistent though. Sometimes he'll do it through video and other times he'll do it through the Discord. But the last homework review, as far as I'm looking at it right now, was in August of last year. So honestly, I'm not sure if he's still continuing with that. If you really wanted to whip out the magnifying glass and take a closer look at his painting process, then the step-by-step process guide is probably what you're looking for. So these step-by-step processes aren't exactly like speed paints. I don't think he even does speed paints, none from that I see on the Patreon anyway. But rather how do I explain this? So let's take this piece for example. For the step-by-step process, he'll show you the different drafts he made before getting the final version, and for each stage he'll explain his thought processes and the changes he made to get the final version he wanted. Personally, in my opinion, I think having a teacher that explains their thought process and the way they do things is extremely valuable for any student, especially when it comes to technical things like art in general. In regards to the videos, they usually run from anywhere between 15 minutes to about an hour or 30, give or take. On top of the step-by-step processes and the tutorials, he does occasionally do the Q&A and commentary videos. In regards to the direct messages, don't worry about that, he doesn't like give you feed pics or anything. Nor should you send any either, I think we should make that clear. Let's keep it professional, okay? Keep it... Otherwise, he's pretty responsive on Discord. Speaking of the Discord, there's really not too much happening in the Discord itself. It's only got a few channels mainly for showcasing your art or getting critique or submitting for special events. There's also not too much talking happening in the general chat, which is unfortunate, but I think that's okay because some people are shy when it comes to starting conversations with strangers online. I know I am, but if any of you do decide to join Guweiz's Patreon, go ahead and start a conversation. Tell them Halusi sent you. Look, I'm not saying that all the channels are inactive, okay? What I'm saying is that there are some channels that are more active, well, not more active, but are more responsive compared to other channels. Like for example, from what I'm seeing right now, the art feedback and the art showcase channels are the most active ones. Overall, I would say that the community is wholesome and helpful as long as you poke the bear a little bit. Finally, you also do get the high-res files for his paintings. That should wrap it up for what content Guweiz is offering, and with that being said, it's finally time to start rating his Patreon. So again, I will be rating the Patreon based off of these factors, but first let's start off with who the Patreon is for. Really, it's for anyone who wants to support Guweiz if they're in the position to do so, but if you're an artist who wants to learn from Guweiz, you may want to learn the fundamentals first before joining the Patreon. Moreover, I do feel like, and I'm not sure if this is intentional or not, but I do feel like the Patreon is designed after a classroom setting, which I think is great because I feel like his tutorials are also at a college level, or you know, like at least the quality I would expect from an art school. Anyway, let's start rating his Patreon with the goodies. So again, you get the monthly voice tutorials, step-by-step processes, the high-res images, full access to the tutorial library, that's amazing. The privilege of sending him DMs, please keep it professional, don't send any unsolicited pics. And of course, access to the Discord community. One thing that he doesn't mention though are the special events that he occasionally does. Not that he has to add it to the list, it's just something I would personally add to kind of spice things up a bit, maybe attract more people to the Patreon. Again, I'm not gonna tell anyone how to run their business, that's just me. Overall, for the goodies part, I would give it full stars. Moving on to the tutorials. Again, full and unrestricted access to previous tutorials is a major plus for the section. In terms of the teaching style, he goes for the more traditional teacher-student approach, meaning that it's very much like an online class, or like, you know, in-person class. So this will consist of a combination of lectures and demos with an incredible amount of knowledge, tips, and tricks. He also acknowledges traps other artists fall for, and he also acknowledges that he does fall into them occasionally, which gives people learning from him lots of reassurance. Like I mentioned before, he does put emphasis on what exactly you want to convey, and to do this, he wants you to build on your observational skills. Work on developing that observation hockey. For example, the form of the hair, think about breaking them down into simple shapes and the various possible camera angles. In one video, he even briefly touches on physics. In terms of the subjects, he has plenty of different topics it covers, ranging from environment, drafting, posing, compositions, anything under the sun, he's probably covered it, whether it's in its own video or not. Like I mentioned before, he has a whole series dedicated to creating a character illustration where everything from camera angle, environment, and lighting, you name it, everything serves its purpose to make the character pop. Again, like I mentioned earlier, you may want to work on your fundamentals before subbing to Guweiz's Patreon for the tutorials. Not necessarily saying that you have to, but it will help you understand what he's talking about. And you don't need like a complete understanding, right? You can just have like a basic understanding of it and you should be okay, in my personal opinion. He also does the occasional, and I say occasional because I don't know if he's still doing them, the occasional homework review where he gives people who submit the homework on a topic feedback on where they can improve, which is extremely valuable since they're coming from an art god. In supplement to the tutorials, the step-by-step process videos provide a font of knowledge in terms of what a complete illustration workflow looks like from draft to final. Basically, in these videos, he explains why he made the decisions, and it's an incredible source of information that a speed paint won't offer. The only shortcomings I can really think of in terms of the videos is probably the teaching style and length. Like I mentioned before, the style is more of the traditional lecture demo style, which in today's age, lots of people may not be into considering their attention span. On top of that, the video length does range from 15 minutes to about 2 hours if he's really stretching it, although most videos do seem to fall just short of 1 hour. Personally speaking, I am okay with this teaching style, and really the only reason why I'm mentioning this is because I know other platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube is filled with quick cut, high energy sub 1 minute videos with tidbits of knowledge. And that's not a hit piece on anyone who makes those videos, nor is it a hit piece on anyone who prefers those videos. I'm just saying that because there are more and more of these types of short tutorials on top of short form videos being pushed in today's society, people who prefer those videos will need to make sure to stay focused. So for those of you who do like those types of videos, this is just something you need to be aware of before subbing to Guweiz for the tutorials. Overall though, I would rate his tutorials a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Now for the pricing. Out of the bat, full stars. Let's be honest here, $7.50 for the quality of tutorials that you get is absolutely insane. Not to mention the unrestricted access to previous tutorials on top of the step-by-step processes and the high-res files for his art. This is an extremely generous and affordable offer from Guweiz. Look, if you can't afford the art school tuition fee, definitely go for this one. And that's also a point that he likes to make. Although he does have a course over at Colosso that's over 50 hours long, it is quite pricey. At full price, it's over $200, and in one of his videos, he actually makes it a point that he doesn't want people to spend more money than they have to. And that's because he believes that the tutorials he uploads on Patreon is compact and sufficient enough, and really the Colosso is there only if you want to hear him explain things in depth. And I believe that's also one of the reasons why he made his brushback free for anyone who wants to download them. As for the final verdict, is Guweiz's Patreon really worth subscribing to? For me, it's absolutely a no-brainer. I think anyone would be out of their minds if they didn't take this opportunity to learn from one of the GOATs at such an affordable price. Overall, the Patreon in itself, in my opinion, is an absolute goldmine. TLDR, $7.50 for a masterclass is a deal you don't want to miss out on. The rating I would give is full stars. That should wrap it up for the video. Give it a like or dislike if you want. If you guys like these types of videos, or if you have any other suggestions as to what content you want me to do, let me know in the comments below. Sub to the channel if you want to. I also do have art on my Instagram page. Anyway, let me explain to you why I really like Guweiz's work. The reason why I like Guweiz's work is because of the way he does storytelling.